Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to the Honest Trailer Commentaries for Ant-Man Quantumania. Yeah. We're talking about that movie that came out.
Oh, boy.
And Danielle's here. Hi, Danielle.
Hey, how's it going? I'm
Hey.
back to you, still in my closet with, now I have my hoodie covering all of my cleanliness sins. So we're doing
Perfect. Yes.
It's all my Amazon boxes with my address all over them. So
I'm sending this image to Room Raider right now. They'll get back to you soon.
please. It is time for an intervention. I really do need this thing to start working again. Anyway, hi, Ants.
Hey, Ants. If you've never seen this show before, hello. Weird one to start with.
Where you been?
Yeah, where you been? We're talking about Ant-Man 3, Quantumania.
Oh, boy.
We're going to give you a blow-by-blow, an atom-by-atom dissection of this film.
It blows.
It blows.
There's your one blow by blow.
We're gonna watch deleted scenes. We will take your questions and comments, so put those in the chat, and we'll respond to them, and then tease you with next week's Honest Trailer. I need to refrain from teasing it up top because I always just want to give it away right away. Let's wait till the end, because it's got a great ending, much like next week's film.
You did it, you bastard.
You bastard. So Ant-Man, okay, fine. Let's turn off the distractions. I actually don't have a script on here today anyways. Let's just talk about, I don't know how I'm going to do the comments or questions.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out. But Ant-Man 3, I had high hopes. I'm an Ant-Man defender. I've said no Ant-Man slander before on this very desk because I liked Ant-Man 1 and 2. I think they have been in the past a necessary but forgive the pun, sort of weightless diversion from the rest of the MCU and its grand architecture storytelling. Ant-Man was a chance to slow things down, to do things that were more self-contained, and one of my favorite genres. I do like heist movies. I did like that they had that aspect. I do like Paul Rudd, much like everyone with a pulse, and I thought that these were the few MCU comedies that actually had good jokes in them. They were funnier than most of the MCU's attempts at humor. I found his supporting cast delightful. They've gotten rid of all of that, folks. We are in its dirty pond water era where they need to shrink him down to enter the Star Wars world and try to save the universe for the next 7 phases. And just what an unforced error, or maybe a forced error, where they're like, Feige's like, it all rests on Ant-Man now, where this could have just been another fun Ant-Man movie, and here we are with the weight of the universe on his shoulders, and it just done been dropped. But I think this is like the general consensus, right? Or do you guys disagree?
Oh no, I hated every moment of this. It honestly feels. I feel like the quantum realm itself is a big part of the problem here. It's disgusting. It's off-putting. It looks gross. It's not. Like, you know how we talk about the uncanny valley, where like you can make something look real, but then if it looks almost too real, it looks gross and weird, and it's got to look like somewhat stylized. I think the same is true with busyness on screen. Like, you can make a background look busy up to a point, and it's impressive, like Avatar 2, where you're like, my God, look how rich this ocean environment is. There's coral, there's all this detail. But if you tick it up, if you do it the wrong way, there's too much detail in the background. It becomes gross and impossible to even like what is going on. It just becomes like a big brown blur.
Look, most Marvel action is, or Danielle, you talk first, because I'm going to go on a rant about Marvel action.
Danielle, talk.
Do it now.
Talk.
Yeah, the problem with it's the same thing that everyone else is saying, is that I think that we all thought it was neat that Ant-Man did have this larger role to play in the events of Endgame, and that the quantum realm actually wound up being something that was really important. And I think maybe the wrong lesson was taken away, where they're like, oh, you like all that Ant-Man science, so let's really lean into the Ant-Man science on this one. And it's like, no. We all liked Endgame because it was like the end of 10 years of movies. It wasn't because we were all like, oh man, I gotta watch that Endgame. Not for all of the satisfying conclusions to like this tale they've been telling for a decade, but because I want to hear more about ant science. No one was asking for more of this. Like we wanted all of the things in that what worked. And I 100%, we've always said we enjoy when these movies can flirt with not just being two genres, like being a comic book movie and a heist movie. And the comedy did work. And I really, really, really miss all of his ex-con friends. You really feel them missing. And they've now been replaced with, I guess,
mucus.
now his her family.
Mucus.
Yes, mucus.
Blobs,
and now her
blobs of
parents
mucus.
are like his parents. Yeah. No, I prefer Louise to blobs of mucus.
Yeah, you've kneecapped the strength of Ant-Man, which was his crew and his sort of outsider status in the MCU, but especially the setting and what that does to the action, because I thought the other cool thing about those films was the action scenes played with scale in a way that was really fun and understandable. Like, oh, he's using cars like roller skates, or oh, he's on a train set, but it looks epic. Like, that was inherently a fun place to set action scenes and made them stand out from the usual CGI blobs that Marvel movies devolve into in the third act. This was all blob all the time.
Yeah,
everything looked like a paramecium, and if he's growing really big or really small
it's
and fighting
meaningless.
something with like a bunch of cilia sticking out of it, I'm drawing on all my bio.
Yeah, really nicely
So
done
that
with
is
cilia.
exactly the word that I was looking for.
That's really good.
A lot of
For those
cilia.
who don't know, it's the little hairs in the back of
Yes.
your throat that make the food go down.
But and
everything looks like that. It's real gross.
And you see how, already our conversation is getting kind of disgusting. The whole movie is disgusting. I really feel like they, like Rick and Morty, obviously like all of the MCU now owes a debt to Rick and Morty. I think the guy who wrote this is a Rick and Morty
alum.
veteran. Rick and Morty's a cartoon. So like when you make a disgusting mucosoid blob, it doesn't look gross because it's a drawing. But when you do it in this movie and everybody looks that way, it's just off-putting. It's just aesthetically unpleasant.
Yeah. You could have done a gross out R-rated version of this movie.
I still probably would have worn out its welcome for me
Probably.
after 20 minutes or so. But yes, but better.
Yeah. Who's that Nepo baby director?
Wow, you're going to have to get more specific.
Crimes of the Future's kid.
Oh, Brandon Cronenberg.
Yeah.
He's good, though. He's great. I don't want to bash Brandon Cronenberg.
It's not a bash. I'm just saying he could have made a really disgusting
Yes.
Ant-Man
Everybody's got a messed up face. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna cover everything in lube, like actually get some lube and like make some wet puppets.
Use those holes.
Use all 8
man.
of those holes. Or
There's a joke where Michael Douglas, to fly the ship, he's got to stick both of his arms in these like mucus
Like an
tubes,
orifice, yeah.
and he makes a face, and that's my review of the movie.
That's the
his
thumbnail.
repulsed face. Oh, I got to stick my hand in there. It's like, I got to watch this for 2 hours. That was me.
Well, we have to watch this for about 6-7 minutes. So let's roll the honest trailer for Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, and the Wasp.
Yeah.
And the Wasp, because she was also
Miyazaki
in the title.
burying my head in my hands this whole time. Just imagine that.
All right, let's go. Where did I put the script for this episode? I don't know.
From the anarcho-communists sending hidden messages to children that only your most conservative uncle can decipher. And the director of Back to the Future, The Ride.
So pause. We got that wrong, slightly.
The co-writer of Back to the Future.
He wrote Back to the Future: The Ride. He directed a whole bunch of other Back
We were
to the
saying for
Future.
the animated series, they had live action like wraparounds. He directed those.
So apologies to friend of the show, Peyton Reed.
Is he a friend of the show?
He did come on here to react to Ant-Man
man.
1.
I'm sorry,
but
Peyton
that doesn't
Reed.
buy you any favors.
Clearly not a friend of part of the show. Friend of other parts
No, but
of the
he's
show.
he's obviously welcome to come back on and call us idiots or
please.
tell the truth. About what really went down.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah. Anyways, Back to the Future: The Ride, fantastic. If you ever get a chance, it's probably the 13th.
No, it's gone now, right?
Oh yeah.
I think
well,
it's
you'll
the
never
Simpsons.
get the chance.
The Simpsons ride is now where Back to the Future once stood.
Where do you think if Back to the Future: The Ride were an action set piece set in the MCU, I think it'd probably be like in the top 5.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You have to bump your DeLorean into a dinosaur, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah.
See, you don't get stuff like that in these movies.
No. That's
okay.
just that you have to bump your mucus into Bill Murray's mucus.
Keep going.
Stop saying you get.
Comes a
I
sequel
won't.
that ditches the low-stakes appeal of Ant-Man in favor of an infinite loop of Kang movies. So, Jonathan Majors plays all of them? Too late to change that in post, huh? Cool. Ant-Man and the Wasp,
All right,
Quantumania.
pause. What to do with Jonathan Majors. What's
I actually think you got a real
you
easy...
do with the problem like a Majors. Sorry, I didn't.
I think you've got a great out because he's already a multiversal you could have one throwaway line of like, I got tired of that face.
Yeah.
You know, and like done.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Okay.
And I want to pitch Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo. Okay.
I think he'd be a great new Kang.
All right. You have a new Kang or a Kang take, Danielle?
I wanted to go with Yahya, even though I know he's real busy with all the comic booking. But then me and Lon texted, and he said Coleman Domingo, and I was like, Justice for Zola.
Yeah.
And then so I'm kind of on the Coleman Domingo.
All right.
Because Zola.
That man can chew some scenery. Good Lord.
Zola, he goes great from like, this guy's kind of fun. I like this guy to like real scary. And like that, I feel like that's the same Kang. That's the same like, this guy might be, he kind of seems trustworthy, but no, he's terrifying. Like I feel like that Coleman Domingo could do that.
All right. Yeah.
Yahya would be great, but he's about to be Wonder Man in the MCU. So
yeah. Which is also,
Multiple
he's
MCU
super charming. So.
Charles Barkley. I stand by Charles Barkley as the new Kang. I think it's an element there.
He's not a role model. He's told us.
He's not a role model.
And like imposing, a physically imposing specimen, Charles Barkley.
Okay, keep going.
In a world where the same effects team has to balance this and Wakanda Forever at the same time, comes a theatrically released collection of storyboards where every actor looks copy-pasted into their scenes, reacts to absolutely nothing real, and wanders around a stomach-churning world of reddish-brown pond water. Come on! Hurry! They spent $200 million on this, and it still looks like Gritty's colonoscopy. Scott Lang is
we have some alts for that.
So many alts.
Yeah, it's true though. That's I think the main weakness of this film is the way it looks.
Yeah. For sure.
It can't be overstated how muddy and like you're in a dirty fluid medium. And how unexciting and unappealing they made the quantum world, and then would throw in stuff like there's a cantina, and there's also a fancy restaurant, and there's gangs, and like it's the opposite of world building. It is literally just like here's bits and pieces of other movies.
Right. It had that Boba Fett feel of like they didn't really put thought into how this world works or what it's like to live there. It's just occasionally you'll see flashes of like, here's our fancy restaurant, here's the building that's alive, and then
and there's like that barbarian leader or whatever she was, and she's like, they've destroyed my people, and like I can't see like more than 6 feet ahead of me because it's all pond scum from there on out. What land? What people?
Kang conquered our village. Like it's a village.
What do you farm?
Yeah, like
can you eat the ground?
Yeah. How did you even all get here? And why do no two people look alike? Like why are no two people from the same species? Like what is going on?
Well, and it all just looks very flat. Like it does. I know that people rag on the volume, and I didn't do the research to see if that's where this was done, but it does look like a bunch of people who are standing in front of the movie while the movie plays behind them.
Yes.
And I was
they didn't actually go to the quantum realm,
They didn't actually go to the quantum realm, but I would like it to feel like they did.
Yeah.
I was watching because I guess I've been saying, and so it was like, oh, you must want to watch William Harper Jackson and more stuff, and I was like, I do. So I was watching The Good Place, and they have a couple of these scenes where it's like, this really isn't that far off in terms of like the believability and like how much you feel immersed in the world as Ant-Man does, except that they do it for 2 seconds for a comedy TV show, that was on like Basic, and this is a big old movie.
The thing is, it's not the lack of ability of these effects houses, it's the lack of time that they're given, because they literally, if you read that article, they were pulled off of Ant-Man Quantumania to work more on
and just the sheer amount. It's a limited time to do a ridiculous amount of animation. I mean, this was basically an animated movie. There's very little that's live action in a lot of these sequences. So they're given these huge vistas to animate in these really narrow windows. But no wonder it looks
that mistake
great.
Came so early in the process of like, why can't we just do an Ant-Man movie where he takes a trip to the quantum realm in the third act? Like otherwise he's in San Francisco with Luis. I feel like
we're like
because there was a core of that movie of him and his daughter. Like she's an activist. He's done. He's hung up his thing. He's just kind of cruising like a celebrity.
Right.
She's like, no, there's still problems in the world. There's a movie there.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely. I feel like in retrospect, even probably Peyton Reed, I feel like would probably agree. Like Kevin Feige, if we had them right here and they gave him truth serum, be like, should we have set less of this movie in the quantum realm? Like, probably yes. Like it had.
They can resolve things in the quantum realm, but let them have the movie in the world.
It's a reverse Masters of the Universe. In Masters of the Universe, we only get like 10 minutes in Eternia, and then it's all of the parking lot behind a chicken restaurant. This is we should spend more time with that man in a chicken restaurant parking lot.
Oh yeah.
Less time in the quantum
and you know
realm.
what? Them getting pulled off of this to do Black Panther is their version of getting the lights turned off during the last scene with Skeletor.
Yes.
It's
True, yes, that's exactly it.
You can have. They must own Gwildor somehow.
Yeah.
They can have Gwildor escape.
Who owns
Gwildor?
a 3-part Screen Junkies docuseries? Who owns Gwildor?
Maybe we could buy Gwildor. Can we crowdfund
Can anyone
Gwildor?
truly own Gwildor?
The People's franchise. Gwildor.
The key!
Gwildor 1. Gwildor 2.
Gwildor returns.
Dark Gwildor.
Gwildor Christmas special.
Yeah. All right. Keep going. By the way,
Scott
pause
Lang
though.
is a famous.
Next year, I heard Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse is hitting public domain.
If Disney allows it to go, like we'll see what.
Yeah,
we'll
I'm sure.
see what
I'm sure
special plans
they'll still
they
go
have.
after anyone that makes like Steamboat Willie Fast and Furious or something. like that.
Yeah, I feel like they've got a
just
plan.
saying. Keep your eye out for our next feature film, Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Author now, or at least famous enough to leave all his day one homies behind.
Back it up. Yeah, back it up. Okay? All you gonna do is we just back it up, okay? That's it. Back it up.
Now he just wants to be a good dad, because hopefully the third Cassie's the charm. Cassie Lang is the MCU's 5th canonical child science genius,
Your daughter built a subatomic Hubble telescope in a basement.
doing what any girl her age would do in San Francisco. Woke stuff.
You shrank a cop car?
What was I supposed to do? Look the other way?
Hope has returned with nothing new to offer besides her tactical hobbit hair. Janet Van Dyne is back to vaguely hint at all the quantum sex she had in the quantum realm.
I had no idea.
I know, we'll talk later. She never said anything about you.
Well, I don't think I would have told my kid either. Wild stuff.
I had needs. Oh my God.
And Michael Douglas is never too stoned to wander around and talk about ants for a paycheck.
Science with ants and science.
This just makes me nostalgic for that Ant-Man 1 promo.
Ants. Ants. Ant-Man.
Truly the most honest trailer of them all.
Yeah, pause.
Sure.
They've got such a great cast.
Yeah,
such a
there's
great cast.
all funny people in this. Yeah.
Everyone's funny. Everyone's super talented, and the movie is just about getting the Boobledorb down the whoozy what's it, and then retrieving the magic crystals so that Kang can enter the nth dimension.
Yeah, she mentioned William Jackson Harper, a great, really funny actor, great at Good Place, really good at Midsummer, just utterly wasted here, and like a one joke, one beat character. Like his bit, he
can read minds.
He's a psychic, but
Isn't
there's
that every psychic's bit is like, ew, that's gross. That what you're thinking.
yeah,
Like,
a little bit. I mean, they kind of do like a little bit of like the SNL like trivial psychic, like he's kind of Captain Obvious, like they're afraid, and it's like they're screaming, but they don't lean into it. They don't make it a bit. You kind of have to get there yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, just when you have this, the cast they've assembled is so good, and to give them just nothing to do, character-wise or emotionally, except just kind of wander around the goo world.
Yeah, there's so much more focus on Goo World than there is any of the characters or anything.
Who is Kang? Who is he? Who is Kang? What's he gonna do?
Yeah,
Like,
well, that's weird too. That you could tell that this was being workshopped in an era when they thought Kang would be more of like a cool reveal. Like they didn't know that Loki would have already happened, I guess, and we'd already have met Kang.
Yeah.
They seem like they're making this movie thinking they get to introduce Kang for the first time, because half the movie is like, we have to get ready for
what were you doing,
him.
Janet? And she's like, I can't say.
Right, and it's like, you guys know we
Okay.
met this guy already in
All
a
right,
TV show.
fine.
We
yeah,
know.
was it him? Was it Jonathan Majors?
We know.
Yeah.
We saw. He's also in the cold open of
Yeah,
this
you
movie.
two were together in the first 2
So,
minutes. It's that guy.
It's not that suspenseful.
All right, here we are. Keep going.
into the quantum realm and join our heroes on a desperate search for a reason to make more MCU movies as we all trudge through a half-assed orb heist fetch quest that's just an excuse to set up the next big villain, him.
You left all of us with him.
He's looking for you.
They are talking about Kang, right?
Not from me, and not from him. He's the future.
Yeah, we met him in Loki. You don't have to be coy about the name.
All for him?
It's not a big reveal. He told us who he was. He's in the cold open. Whatever. Jonathan Majors dusts off his best Shakespeare in the Park voice.
That's what conquerors do.
As this once powerful
right, you
being
dropped that
who
R.
refuses to accept he's been canceled.
It's never over.
And chews scenery like a guy
No R's
who
here.
knows that he's going away for a while, so he better stretch each line as long as possible.
What are you going to do?
And time.
Win.
Along for the
Very
ride.
dramatic.
Oh,
Look
no,
at that.
I was just saying that's a dramatic pause. You don't have to pause this.
Are enough kooky aliens to let you know a Rick and Morty guy wrote this one too, with new characters like Captain Obvious,
Everyone is disgusting.
Bill Murray trying to be the fun cameo that Jeff Goldblum was, but trends closer to another Ralph Boner.
Boner.
And the not ready for primetime MODOK, a floating joke with a grave warning for Illumination Studios. Do not even think about making a live-action Minions movie. So while spending...
MODOK. I mean, MODOK's a fun character. We all love Patton Oswalt's MODOK.
Do we? It was fine.
It was fine. I love the idea of Patton Oswalt's MODOK.
Yeah. If everything else in the movie was not a joke, that joke would be okay.
Right.
But the fact that everything in the movie is goo and ridiculous and a joke, it doesn't play.
It just blended in
It
with
just
everything else.
blends
It
in
didn't stand out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, justice for MODOK, I guess. Some people were really cranky, and it's like, guys, it's still MODOK. Like, I'm okay that they're not taking MODOK seriously. It's still a big floating head. Like, we're fine.
At the same time,
That's
like,
not the part that I had a problem with.
It's not, that was always the reply is like, well, but it's supposed to look stupid. Like, oh, okay. Well, it's supposed to be a joke. Like, oh, okay. But it just doesn't,
Yeah,
it doesn't match
work.
anything around it. And so it doesn't play. Yeah.
it looks like a sketch or something like that. But and if you can't do MODOK, don't do MODOK.
Right. I think that's what it comes down to is like if there's actually no way, and I don't think this is true, but if there's actually no way to take MODOK from the comics and translate it in a way that's fun to the movies that looks cool, just don't. You got a million characters. Yeah.
All right, keep going.
Just make him wait. Make him wet like everything else.
Make them wet.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Time with the ageless Paul Rudd is always a treat. Settle in for a universe that's gotten so big, it's starting to collapse under its own weight. That should have kept Ant-Man as the refreshing after-dinner mint, instead of a dense lore salad to prop up the next 30 of these dumb things. Can we just skip to the new Fantastic Four? I'd rather watch Luis recap the rest of Phase 5.
Oh, see, that's complicated. Because when I
How is he not?
Starring Small Rudd, Hope Floats, The Masked Stinger, Ant-Man Original Recipe, Natwoman, Kangaroo Issues, The Mid-Place, Kirby Sneezeland,
Lord Krylar with musical guest Ants.
Daft Punker Henchman at My House, Broccoli Rob, and Mr. E from the band Eels, because his real-life dad invented multiverse theory.
Yeah,
Said
we had
that's
to
the
do a
most
deep
mind-blowing
dive.
thing in a $200 million movie.
Why he's there?
The Itty-Bitty Witty Committee.
How many holes do you have?
He has 7 holes.
Oh, wait, are we sure there's 7? I think that eye holes would count, no? Do the mouth and butthole count as one for being connected? What about the separate peel for girls? You for making me do hole math.
I'm embarrassed by how much time I spent. I couldn't stop. My stupid ADHD brain, like the instant that started, I was like, okay, I have to pause, and now the next hour is just going to be whole math. Like,
I really
It's between
disagree.
7 and 9.
I really disagree with the contention. Listen, the eye hole thing, I get it. I don't necessarily agree, but I think there's a debate to be had there about whether those count as
Eye holes.
Yeah, because they're filled.
They're
with
sockets.
something.
They're filled holes.
They're filled holes, but they are holes. I really disagree with your mouth and butthole one
It's
whole
one tube.
contention. It's
two entrances to the same.
I feel like you're picturing like human centipede, and it's a straight line, and there's
curves.
It's a whole morass in there. It's not a clean tube.
Yeah.
No,
real tunnels have curves.
It's a tunnel filled with cilia.
No, I'm sorry. Those are two distinct holes. I feel very strongly about that.
Okay,
it's
so
one of those ones where you're sending a Slack and you're like, how close can I get to describing what I'm thinking without getting super fired?
Right. I'm saying it's either 7 and you
there
don't.
There are certain safe Slacks and certain other not safe Slacks. The Honest Trailer Slack is a safe one.
It's a safe space.
It's a safe Slack. Yeah. There's Yeah. We all agree it's between 7 and 9, though. Can't we just agree on a range?
Well, no, it's between 7 and 9. I'm saying it's either 7 or 9. She's allowing for a potential 8, and that's where I draw the line.
I am allowing for a potential 8. I just don't like the finality of he has 7. I think that deserves to be explored more. Where's Mr. Eel's dad?
Where's his dad?
Bring in Mr. East's dad to solve it.
And if you get your ears pierced, new hole?
Yeah, that's true.
New hole? Piercings?
Yeah, I technically. Well, no, I don't. They don't go in. They're clean through.
They go through, thus forming a hole.
Right, but it's a hole into your body, not just a hole through.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Like it's an opening.
How many holes do you have? Sound off in the comments.
So let us know in the comments below how many holes you think you have. I was so proud of myself, by the way, for recognizing. Like, I did not look up that was Mr. E from the Eels. That's purely like 90s indie rock fan and me being like,
nice.
Mr. E. That's the guy from the Eels. What is he doing in this movie?
It's a beautiful day.
Mr. E's Beautiful Blues.
Yeah.
From the Road Trip soundtrack.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah.
Stifler lives. All right. Who else was in that? Stifler?
Breckenmeyer. Yeah. Who? Tom Green, obviously.
Sure.
And then that other guy. There was like that. There's
DJ Qualls. DJ Qualls.
But then there's the snarky Jewish guy who was in a few other 90s things, and I'm blanking on his name.
Yep.
We'll find it.
Show some outtakes. Paulo Costello.
Starring Mac and Mini-Me, Paul Rudd,
Anthony Rapp,
Hope Van Dyne, Hopi Changey, Phasing Hope, Small Wonder, The Cass and the Furious, Twig Newton, Big Little Guys, Fatal Subtraction, Basic Insect, Magic Mike, XXS, Damn it, Janet, Zappin' Granny, he's an sir, Major's Time Lord, Exile on Kang Street, Do You Mind, Professor Lowercase X, Actual Polka Dot Man, Big League Goo, Peter Schrankman, Ghostbusters, Afterthought,
I wrote a lot of these because that's boring.
Pedro Pascal, probably, I don't know, Veggie Tales, Mo Doc, Mo Problems, Honey, the Kid Shrunk Me, Quantum Heap.
Cool title design, as always.
I am a man who likes to be understood.
Not me. I hate that.
Hate being understood.
Dumb line.
I am a man who likes to be understood. Amazing.
Miss me with that.
You know what it reminded me of? There's a random line that Adam West says on Family Guy.
Okay.
He goes, and I am a man who loves his taffy. And that's what the delivery on that, for whatever reason, that's immediately what I thought of.
We're not done yet, but I want to pause to thank you all for watching this far. You might like a video we also released on this channel today. Do box office bombs kill careers? It's actually an interesting study we did on a new episode of By the Numbers. You'll see exactly how much of a hit to your future movies prospects, both in budget and your order in the credits and stuff like that, after releasing a film that makes less than half its money back.
It's interesting because you think of there being like a bad movie is like a career killer, but in most cases you could think of directors get to come back and make movies after flops.
Yes and no. It's like actors recover fairly well.
Yeah.
Directors are the ones who get hit the hardest.
They do,
Director flops are...
But it's still, you could still think of like Josh Trank did that Fantastic Four movie that's hated. Like he came back and did that what is it, Capone or something? It's like dying Al Capone.
Obviously your career does not die, although we do find some exceptions where it's like
even like Troy Duffy, who did Boondock Saints, and like there's a documentary about his flame out. He got to come back and do more.
Yeah, but it is we quantified. We got a guy to run the numbers on exactly what percentage drop you have in your next project size, and typically what your how much of a reputational hit you take as an actor after releasing a bomb. So you can climb your way back. There's people who've recovered multiple times. No women, just men.
Yeah,
who bounce back.
Yeah, well, you get one shot as a woman. It's like, well done. I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you did it.
So check out that video. There's some cool info in there. And now we already did the outtakes, so let's get to some questions. I just got to say right off the bat, apologies for longtime viewer Adam Hulbert. I was a CG artist on this, but I'm not going to hold anything against this. Meaning all of our shitting on it that we've just done.
I'm glad you bring that up, though, because it is worth pointing out again, this isn't a knock on the talent of the behind-the-scenes people working on the movie. We all know that they could have done a great job if they had the right amount of time to actually work on the movie and finish their job. So this is not a knock on the individual VFX artists. It's all about the budget, the schedule. This is Feige. This is down to Feige.
They turned the lights out on you while you were filming Skeletor. It's not your fault.
This is Bobby Iger, Kevin Feige. This is out of the Adam Hulbert level people's.
It's crunch. Yeah, it's the necessity to get these done as they're announced in time for some quarterly earnings report.
Exactly.
The fact that it even got done at all is a Herculean achievement, and then just to get crapped on by us who did nothing and know nothing must not feel great. But it's not your fault.
Sorry.
Also not your fault that they decided to set this movie in Goo World.
Yeah, like it wasn't the end.
Here's your inspiration. Disease.
Yeah, they were just like, here, make this next guy also look like a booger. Like, can I make him look like something other than a booger? No,
just
boogers are funny. Booger. Make him look like Rick talks to boogers.
Yeah.
So
everything should look like you licked a bus bench and then zoom in.
Can he be a talking pickle? No, then it's a booger. Those are your options.
Yeah. And how would you fix the VFX problem? More time,
like
more
5
time,
more years.
Yeah, more time, more money. Not rush these out.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah,
that's
and stop overworking the VX folks because I know that their crunch and everything is. Y'all are working ridiculous hours, and I know that there's not a whole lot of family life balance going on there.
Go to James Cameron's office, show him what you've got, and be like, how long do you think, Jim, they need to whip this into shape? And then whatever he says, give them that amount.
He's going to say 11 years.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Then you're
we
locked
have one
in.
Ant-Man every decade.
You're locked in, but it's going to make $2 billion. So.
That's right. That's right. So let's see. What should we talk about next? Evan J. Pretzer, do you have any real-life colorful ex-con friends? My favorite is my friend Psychotic Pete, who went to jail for selling fake Super Bowl tickets. That's a low bar for being Psychotic Pete.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Scalping fake Super Bowl.
I feel like you got to stab at least one guy.
Yeah, come on, Psycho Pete, you do better. Ex-con friends.
I know. I do know a guy who is an ex-con. He went to jail for hacking stuff. I believe he like hacked people's eBay accounts and like stole stuff from eBay or whatever. Yeah. But so that's a viable ex-con friend.
Nice.
Mine are all my family members, and it's sad because either in my family you either work for the law or you are arrested by the law. Like that's the way that it.
Yeah. Every time a Radford is born, the gods flip a coin.
You're like
the whites. A paralegal. Some people went to jail for 20-something years. You know,
like the whites of West Virginia. The local sheriffs all check in. They're like, all right, a new outlaw. All right.
Adam Preslin asked, thoughts on the Marvels trailer? Looks cute. I thought that, what's her name's the most exciting one, Miss Marvel, of that gang.
I mean,
I really could not care less about Spectrum Internet Service Provider or whatever her name is, like floating around. Don't care.
Call Spectrum. It's time to call Spectrum. And tell them you want Corn Pop TV.
Carol Danvers, I don't like. Not in a thumbnail Brie Larson kind of way, but I just find her as a boring character so far.
I feel like it's so hard to tell with these. The concept sounds fun. It looks like it might be fun, but I don't know. Are they going to blast this off to Goo World again? Are they going to let it be a movie? I don't know. at this point, I feel like I give up on my ability to tell ahead of time whether I'm going to like one of these.
Yeah, fair.
I thought I was going to really like that Thor one.
We were all
I was
cranked
really
up for
looking
Thor.
forward to
Very
Thor, and then what a letdown.
Yeah.
And then this one too, I thought sounded fun.
Thor: Love and Thunder was really like my Fantastic Beast 2 for the MCU, where I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah, the
Was
back
it
to
the
those.
third or fourth goat thing?
Yeah, those two to get Thor: Love and Thunder, and then this is really like.
Don't forget
man.
Eternals.
I didn't mind Eternals that much. I didn't.
No, it wasn't. But it was like signs of trouble on the horizon.
I disagree. Like Wakanda Forever. I'm Doctor Strange 2. I'm fine with all those. None of those made me doubt the core. I like MCU movies. None of those shook the foundation.
But these last two,
Thor: Love and Thunder, and now Quantumania. I'm like, oh man, maybe I am kind of losing my desire to see more of these.
Yeah. Okay, final question. Luis Valenzuela, what job would be the worst to have in the MCU? I mean, he goes on to say, if you want to be in STEM, the bar is set to be Tony Stark, and any other good-paying job is kind of a nightmare. Yeah, I mean, the MCU, people's minds must be so shattered at this point. Because if you think about what they have experienced, it's like the Earth is almost all their friends disappeared for 5 years. There's an alien head. Talk about the Eternals, just rising out of that. You found out the Earth is an egg.
You just would feel your sense of stability utterly gone. I mean, we think about things like the pandemic and inflation and real world things that make people feel unsafe and insecure, and they're so small compared to what's happening in the MCU.
I bet they're maybe inadvertently laying a good groundwork for whatever X-Men, proto-fascist movement is going to be like, let's get rid of all of these superheroes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah.
I feel
seems like they brought nothing but problems.
I do have an answer for this question. Guy selling pizza balls on the street. You're going to get a lot of abuse coming your way. Look out.
See, I was gonna say either bus driver or train operator, because I don't know how, but they will always find the nearest bus or train. Yeah. So that's just got to be one of those things. You're just constantly wearing somer just in case. It's like, oh great, someone cut my bus in half. Oh yeah,
your bus is getting jacked.
All right, so yeah, they're jacking your bus.
Look, it's the only time I will show sympathy for bus drivers. Let me have this.
There should be a superhero bus driver. That's missing.
I mean, there's a superhero name right there.
Super villain.
Yeah.
Super villain.
All right. We've done enough on this muddy mess. We've waded through the goo to bring you to get to the end.
It's like it knows it's gross, though, right? Like the movie leans into being disgusting.
Sure, at times.
Why? Why is that the thing? It's so weird. Anyway. Finish up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
I'm trying to
interrupt
think
your
of
outro.
you look at things under a super intense microscope, they look sometimes they can look cool, like a kaleidoscope, or
you're
it's
thinking it's supposed to look like a slide, under a microscope.
That's what I thought. Like microbes and stuff.
Like microbes, where you see the little things squirting around in there.
So gross. Yeah.
Gross.
Okay.
But if you go
like a toilet, like looking inside a pond,
like looking inside a
toilet.
Yeah, that's what I thought the whole thing was supposed to be. Bad choice. Make it look at a crystal. Look at something cool. Yeah. Speaking of things you don't want to look inside.
Yeah, looking into a muddy pond.
Here's something you don't want to look inside. Next week's movie, because if you open it up and take a look, you might find something that you don't like. And that's our clue. You'll see it in a predictable number of days from now. That's your second clue. And we'll see you then on Honest Trailer Commentaries. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.